Hello, my friends, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in to the business of tattooing. Whether you're here on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or any other podcast platform, it means a lot to me that you're here. Now, if you're enjoying what I'm doing and the content that I'm creating, please do me a favor. Show your support. Hit subscribe, leave a comment, and share these videos with your friends. The way this channel grows is through support from people like you. That encourages me and helps me continuing to do this every single week. Thank you so much.
Yes.
How the heck are you?
I'm so good. I'm chilling. How are you?
Same, chilling.
Chilling. I love it. I love the whole green room and everything. It
Thank
works.
you.
I love it
Thank
so
you.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, I is this like where you normally do videos? Because it looks like different than what I see sometimes online.
Yeah, this is pretty much it. I think it's a little blurry. I don't know why it looks
Do
like
you
my.
do stuff in the shop sometimes or like in
Oh,
your
I
house?
do. Yeah,
You have like a little podcast kind of like setup thing.
I have I normally do I don't really do my podcast at the shop. I do podcasts here. And then I do
Like where do you do all your like promo type reels at?
Oh, yeah, I'll do them. I'll do them. I have like a next part into my office that I usually do it in because then I close all the blinds and have like really controlled lighting. And
Okay.
then I sometimes do them at the shop
Okay,
on
cool.
days like when I'm working, on days I'm tattooing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's super awesome. Hey,
Yeah.
so it's been like forever. I was trying to remember the last time that I actually saw you in person, and I know it was way before COVID. It was at the Chicago Tattoo Convention, I think, but it
Yeah.
had to be like 2017 or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to even think of like what you looked like then. I think that yeah, like it's been a minute. Yeah, it's been
I
a minute.
know. Well, you look great.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like I look the same. Thank goodness. So I guess I just turned 38 yesterday, so that worked out.
Yeah, yeah. You're doing it good.
I do my best.
Yeah, yeah. So let's first of all, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to talking to you because I feel like you're a pretty pivotal person in the tattoo space. I've seen you go through a lot of different growth spurts in different directions. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a wild ride. I'm open to it all though.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to get into that, but beforehand, I just kind of want to get your, background a little bit for anybody that, might be learning about you for the first time, even though you've been around for a long time now. You've been kicking the bricks in the industry for a long time, I feel like.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
been on
Yeah.
TV, you've
Yeah.
done a lot.
Yeah, I have. And I think it's funny because I think back and I always shorten this story every time I go on like podcast episodes and I'm like always trying to like get it in there. Yeah, so I've tattooing for 16 years now. Um, it's crazy to think that that's an actual number that when you think about being an entrepreneur longer than you've been working for anybody, that's pretty badass. And so I feel really blessed to be in this position. Yeah, so I've done it all where it was like going from corporate America to finding out I could paint to quitting my job to living in my car just to find an apprenticeship. Almost gave up looking for an apprenticeship after 3 years of looking, and then someone coming off the streets and basically being like, I was at like a an art walk. I was doing these art walks because I was selling my prints for like $5 a pop just to get my name out there, just to get like more of my paintings out there. And yeah, and a guy came up to me and he was like, "Have you ever thought about tattooing?" And I was like, "Oh my God, can you?" Yes, I'm literally like, "How did you know?" Because I would go shop to shop and it was like back then too, so different. I feel like it's a bit there's like similarities and differences nowadays days, but I feel like back then, when you're a female, when you're told you're too pretty to work at the shop, my wife would be jealous. You girls don't know how to draw, which that was really cracked me up. I'm like, what about me being
Mhm.
a woman or a girl has anything to do with my abilities to do anything else? Like that made no sense to me.
Sure.
But I think the where I was looking, I had no idea. Like I had no idea. I did the Amazon tattoo kit, tried figuring it out myself, said there is no way. I was like, that's not happening. Tattooing on oranges was not the vibe. It was awful. I was like, I'm never gonna learn how to tattoo. So I figured I would just be like a poor painter and get my master's in fine art and go like the whole plan. It was like I was 3 years in, I was gonna go work. I was gonna go get my master's in Scotland because I was like, I'm gonna marry Scottish Highlander. It's like this whole idea. And yeah, I was like, that's how I'm gonna do it. And then finally someone said, have you ever thought about tattooing? And I was like, so grateful. At the end of the day, it was a front shop for the Mexican mafia for guns and drugs. And I was hired because I was female, and they were like, "You will make the shop look more legitimate," which it was a legitimate shop, but, like, most of the guys in there learned in jail, and, really, I love them so much, and I also think that, like, being taught I had to unteach a lot of really bad habits over the
Yeah,
years,
that you learned.
but I was just so happy to be, like to someone to give me a chance that I really didn't care, and it was, such a great opportunity because literally, like, just right after that, like, I got hit up to audition for a TV show and I got it and I turned it down. And I was like, because I'd spoken to a lawyer friend who was like, this is an awful contract. You are selling your life away. And I was so bummed to turn it down, but I was so proud that I did because then the next show that I got offered was Tattoo Nightmares, which was a better show. So then 2 years into tattooing, I had auditioned with, like, hundreds of other artists, like so all the people from Ink Master, Ink Master, I think, was barely in its 3rd year that
Mhm.
year, and it was, like, all these, like, really famous people, like Steve Taft, who's, like, a really good friend of mine now, we've got Sarah Miller, like, all the OGs back in the day, and I was like, "There's no way I'm getting this," so instead, I just got really drunk off whiskey and went into my audition, and they loved it, and so, yeah, I got chosen, and then they flew me out to Miami, and it was just, like, this fun experience, and from there was, like it was like a whirlwind, like, travel all over the world, you party like a rock star, it was bananas, it was bananas, and then, yeah, it just, like it went from there, I hit, like, a massive rock bottom, which we can get into, and then and then as I slowly started to come back, rebuild my business after that, it was like it was like this kind of crossroads on how I wanted to be as a human being in the world and who I wanted to be and how I and what kind of art and like the style of art to coming back into the tattoo industry after quitting. And then yeah, then it's like then I moved into coaching and psychosomatics facilitation. And now I do integrative trauma therapy and I help people scale their businesses out of one to one to one to many. And so it's just like, it's crazy. It's so many different things that I've either done in the tattoo industry or helped tattoo artists do themselves. And now it's been branching out so much to the point where I still find my love and home in the tattoo industry. However, I've branched out so much where I get invited into coaching industries, health and wellness industries, beauty and hair industries, to do teachings all over different industries. So it's just been like growth, 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 crazy, 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 kind of just opening myself up to whatever the universe has in store for me and just say fuck it and say yes. And if I fall, get back up. If I don't, awesome.
Yeah, I love your outlook and you've always just been like a super positive person,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
matter what, life
yeah.
throws at you. And I've
Mhm.
seen it throw some pretty challenging balls in your path, so
Yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, when I remember it was like the pinnacle. I think it was like 2016, I think it was. And man, I remember I was at like the Brazilian consulate and I was about to go get my visa to go to Brazil because they were re-inviting me out. I had just done a crazy stint in Argentina where I was speaking like Spanish on their television shows and representing commercials and all this stuff, and I was like I felt like the biggest, like, Backstreet Boy when I went to Argentina, like, they are obsessed out there, they're obsessed, so the TV show was still running after that, even though we only had, like, 1 or 2 seasons, and I still kept getting invited out, and I remember, my manager calling me and being like, "Reese, have you looked online?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "You need to look online." And I look online, and I am being canceled. I'm being like really, I never understood cancel culture until that day where I was like, "What is happening?" And it was based around my own mistakes, around taking tattoo photos that weren't mine and posting them as my own. And when I got caught very publicly, it was like I remember the feeling in my body of just, like, complete shock, and the first thing I thought was I remember being like, "Oh my god," and I didn't know what to think or do, and I think the first thing I did was I ended up emailing all my sponsors really
Mhm.
quickly to let them know, like, "Hey, I understand if you need to drop me, this is what's happening," because I'd rather it come from me than they see it online,
Right.
and I remember getting emails back being like, "Sorry, Reese, yeah, this is horrible," and some people, like, were really hateful about it, others were more professional, I suppose you could say, but at the end of the day, like, I there was a big part of me that felt like I deserved it, and, like, massive part of me that felt like it was an interesting thing, so, like, I think it's been almost, like, 10 years now, so it's like, when I look back at the situation, it was like the gift of rock bottom. I always tell people, like, this is the biggest gift I was ever given because it one of 2 things could have happened. I was already going down a very drug-induced route at that time. I was drinking a lot, I was doing a lot of drugs, I was partying a lot. My artwork was going downhill because of waking up hungover and all this other stuff, and it was always it was and there was this this desire for me to just constantly be just I wanted to be loved. I just
Mhm.
wanted to be loved, and there's these moments in time I feel like where we don't know how to offer that to ourselves, and so we seek it outside of ourselves, and so that was, you know, a big part of why as I can kind of like decode why I would take tattoos that weren't mine and post them as my own, even though I was already successful, successful in the way that people saw success. And big reason is that, how oftentimes, and I think this happens to a lot of artists, a lot of people, entrepreneurs, where we go out in the online space and we continue to compare ourselves. And then we continue to only look at the hate when there's like 90% love. So everybody's loving on you, but the people that are like, you shouldn't be on TV. You've only been 2 years. You suck at tattooing. You're never going to get good. You're just a pretty face. You just show, it's like you only hear the negative. And so
Right.
the negative was just like weighing and weighing and weighing. And then, and I was just like, I just remember being like, when it all fell, I remember deep disgust and just shame. And then I also remember a little semblance of relief, like finally, like I think there's this aspect to being caught where you don't have to hide behind a mask anymore, and you feel like I'm a fraud, and I get to call myself a fraud, and I get to own it. And I think that at that point was like that turning point for me where, of course, that took me down a very spiritual route where I, quit tattooing for a year. I was told I would never show my face again. I should never show my face again. I remember getting pretty horrible death threats. Not death threats, what was it? Suicide like things, like where they were like, you should just kill yourself. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I was like, and as someone that does deeply care about what people think of me, I was really appalled by that level of the amount of people that had said similar things to being like, "You should just kill yourself. You should just slit your wrists and never show your face again. You're pathetic. You're unworthy," just like all these different terms, and a lot I took it as, like, I deserve this, and I remember beating myself up and beating myself up to the point of just, like, I quit completely, and then I started going on, like, a really spiritual route of, like, maybe I'll just be a yoga teacher and I won't ever have to show my face. I'll never have to like deal with this anymore. But I think interestingly enough is that for some reason in my whole body, I was told to come back to the industry, even though I was so scared. And I did it really quietly too. I was really scared. I was so scared to the point where I was like, if I get caught coming back, I'm gonna get canceled again. And I was so afraid of being canceled. But then over the years, I started getting into psychosomatics. I became an integrative trauma therapist over the years, and I started to realize that like my biggest shadows are my biggest pieces of gold. All the things I'm so afraid to admit are all the things that actually make me the most unique and relatable human being. And so that when I rebuilt my business and I was able to rebuild it to a place where I was booked out for months in advance, I had opened up a tiny little shop just for me. There were people still kind of calling me out, but it was kind of not talked too much about. So like whenever it would happen, it would be so quiet. It wasn't like the big cancel. And then I started talking about it.
You just started being open about all the stuff that you're talking about now.
Yeah. And because of the fact that I decided that I was like, I hated watching artists and creatives feel so afraid to be in the online space and to share who they are as artists. Because the reason why I felt like my brand was able to blow up the way that it did was because I was so like open. But then to rebuild and to blow it up even bigger the next time was because of the fact that again, it was with that understanding that I'm building a brand. I'm not just a tattoo artist. Like I'm an entrepreneur. And as I started to shift that mindset from tattoo artist to entrepreneur, it became this opening door of like, well, I never want to see another artist not be able to make the money they deserve to be making because of the levels of artwork that they're creating because of the fact that they're afraid to show up online because of hate. And that was like the biggest part of why I started coaching. And so then when I started getting into the coaching industry, I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to come out with this story because this is the whole reason why I'm doing this in the first place. So I
Right.
started talking about it a lot and then I started getting canceled all over again, which actually this next time was so easy to go through because it was like, I already owned it. So you can't own me. Like you don't have power over me. And that was really the next level of like, wow. So let me help people market and create, and get themselves booked out. And that was when I started really helping. I created my own signature methodology I called it booked out and how people launch their books to open and how to build a brand around themselves, but also just around their values and their beliefs and why telling their story is actually really important to their clients and to the people that they want in their spaces because it's the reason why people will fly, drive, take a sailboat to come get tattooed by you versus the guy down the street that does a similar style as you. So it's like this actually became the whole foundation, brand story and identity is what I like to call it in order for me to like step into the coaching industry. And it's so funny because like I remember getting called out again, like really hard Reddit's, the posts and all this stuff. And I just remember it being like, it just like right over me because I was like, wow, this is so neutral now. And then that's when I kind of realized like I was onto something because I was like, not only did I get to heal my own wounds of being seen as exactly who I am, which is, yeah, you know, I was a fraud. Yeah, I did this thing. Yeah, I did this. I'm also this person and this and this and this. And I own my shadows as much as I own the light. And so it's like when I do both of those things and actually it becomes much bigger than me and that's what makes the why and makes it easy for me to talk about it so often now it's just like a story. I mean, I'm doing, I just spoke on a stage over 1,000 women telling this story and I just like a TED talk and I was like what am I doing here standing on this stage, there's my face, I'm like this is crazy and I'm telling the story and people are crying and they're like you're so brave and I'm like I don't feel brave. I
Right.
feel weird, but it's like, it's crazy that like this is kind of where it all led to. So I can't be mad at it. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't wanna ever I would never change it for the world. I mean, I'm really proud of the way I've handled it, and there's also things that I think I could have done better, but at the end of the day, it's like, just presence is where it's at.
Yeah, it's a cool story to hear the whole thing, put out there like that, and to get your perspective on that because I remember when you were going through that,
Yeah.
and we had some conversations going
Yeah.
back and forth.
Mhm.
But the interesting point was from my perspective, I never saw it as like a cancelable offense towards you, right? Like I didn't
Mhm.
view it like that. I
Mhm.
kind of I just tried to understand, the why. Why would you
Yeah.
do that? And then understand, but I really thought it was um amazing the way that you really just stepped up and owned it. Like I think you really handled it well. And I think there's a valuable lesson in that story, especially in society that we live in today where even more so I feel like people are so like we talk about it a lot on this podcast. I talk about it with artists all the time. It's like clickbait is what gets the attention, right? It's like the rage bait. Like people just want a reason or someone to be pissed off at and be able to just throw stones all the time. It's like a prevalent part of our society these days. So
Yeah.
I often sit back and I wonder when people fall from grace. It's like, take for example this, like Hulk Hogan just passed away, and there was like all this controversy online over some racist comments he said at one time on a podcast or whatever. And I
Mhm.
sit back and I think like, I look at a person like that and their whole entire span of their life and their whole career, right? And all the good things that they've done with their celebrity and their status, and then they veer off path for one time, or they say something out of context one time, or something that they regret right after they say it, and it doesn't matter. The whole world forgets everything good that you did,
Mhm.
and they only want to focus on that one dark moment, and they don't want to let it go. And some people can't recover from that, right? Like it's a really devastating thing to go through a cancellation like that on social media, right? So like how do you find the strength in that? And then like what is your message overall to like people that are dealing with that on a that because we hear it all the time, the self-sabotage mentality where we
Mhm.
tell ourselves we're not good enough to do something or we're not good enough to be something. Even you saying, I just spoke in front of 1,000 women and like, what the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you belong there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you're in that inside part of you never wants you to believe that you're good enough.
Mhm.
And so when you're dealing with that on a magnified level across social media with potentially millions of people that know who you are, how do you recover from that?
I think that the aspect is it for me when I think about that. So I consider that self-sabotage or protector part. So in psychosomatics, what I do is I love to get to the root cause of things, and so your psyche holds all these different parts of you. There's the exiled parts that we've exiled. We said we don't like you. We don't like this part of us, so we're going to hide it. And then we have all these protectors that protect that part. So it's like we don't. We have all these like, oh, let me just protect it. So the negative self-talk sometimes is like, "What am I doing here?" You know what I mean? Or like, "I'm not good enough." That not good enough feeling is just a protection mechanism that has been successfully used, to get you to stay in your comfort zone. Now, what I do is I actually separate myself. So I have a methodology I call the unmerging. And the unmerging is essentially that I just unmerge from subject object. So the object of everybody thinks the object is outside of them, like a phone or a plate or something like that. But actually, objects are internal as well. So objects like your thoughts, your emotions, these different things. So when I hear you're not good enough and I can unmerge from that, I don't actually take it as this is me. I take it as this is a part of me that's protecting me from what? Let's dive deeper. So I go into the depth of this. And so because when I first started coaching artists on this, I did not understand why it was so fucking hard to fucking post a thing. I was like, you guys, what? just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. But what I was realizing was that I was accidentally, not knowing, traumatizing, re-traumatizing people to do things that they currently did not have a relationship with their inner community, their inner self, to do that. So there was no trust there. So that's when self-sabotage happens. So I realized over time, and the way that I've seen so many people have long-term results and massive quantum leaps within their business, is because of the unmerging. So when we basically take these things that we're thinking and we actually practice not merging with the experience, not merging with the thought, it becomes more of a compassionate experience then. You're like, "Oh, you're so sweet. Like, you're protecting me from something. What are we being protected from? Why am I so afraid of this?" And then it starts to go back into childhood of the first time you ever felt like you weren't good enough. And so then we start to heal and expand the capacity. Actually, what I call it, stretching your comfort zone. So because the thing is that we're always, to grow, you need to lean into your edges. It's never going to feel comfortable. It's like having a baby, or, you know, you know, taking a poop. You're like, oh, I've got to expand in order, you know what I mean? Like, it's like all these things. It's like you want to make sure that you're going to feel uncomfortable in some capacity. And I feel like discomfort, if we change our relationship with discomfort, that's actually where we can do the things that we always wanted to do. Like, I look at life as like such a blip in time. Like, I don't want
Right.
to waste a second of it. Why would I waste a second of it thinking about what someone thinks about me before I even post this post? Like, before I even do anything, people are already stressing over a future that doesn't even exist yet because they've put it in their mind that this is what's going to happen and it's law. So for me, it's like I love to dive deeper into, I love the shadow. I love shadow work. I love integrative trauma therapy, but I do believe that it's actually the most uh like timeline shifting, quantum leaping type of work that you could ever do for yourself in life and in business. So like, since I teach it through the lens of business, it's obviously like I'm looking at it through that aspect. So if I were to tell someone, the like the overall lesson here is really, it's like your body, your emotions, the thoughts you're thinking are actually asking you something. They're saying, "Hey, please look at me. I need your attention." But what you're doing is you're treating it like you're treating it like an unwanted child, and you're abandoning yourself again and again and again. And when you stop abandoning yourself, you will actually do the things that you're afraid to do, because you're like, oh, wow, I get to know myself just a little better. Then I get to share this with my outer community, like my clients or the potential clients. And then now I'm like, I'm healing and expanding my business all at the same time. I mean, that's really where it's at, I think.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Is there like, do you find like a certain demographic of people that like make that discovery? Like, is it like, is it tied to a specific age? Like, do people generally make that discovery younger in age, or is it kind of just all over the place for people, different times, different places, circumstantial?
Can you describe to me what like what we're discovering?
So, like discovering that, you need to stop rejecting that,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I think we are in an age that everybody's waking up a little bit more, and I feel really blessed and proud to be a part of that age. I think I also am very tunnel visioned. I only am surrounded by people that are like this because I create my own community. So, like, I decided when I was, when I started coaching, I didn't see anybody else doing what I was doing at the time. And I was like, well, I also don't see anybody coming out of the spiritual closet either. So I'm just going to create my own community. And that's basically what social media is so beautiful for. It's like I get to actually just create a space that I love to be in all the time. Like, this is my home. I get to invite people into my home. If I don't like them in my home, I kick them out. Like, that's it. Like,
Right.
that's all it is. I block and bless. Like, I don't need it. But otherwise, I'm going to be as true to myself as possible, which, to be honest, is the most polarizing thing. And that's the best type of marketing if we really want to go down that route. It's because polarization actually repels the people that are not meant for you and brings in the people that are meant for you. And so if I'm doing this and being totally true to myself, then of course I'm going to be calling in the right people into my spaces. As far as demographic, though, I would say that I don't think that it's really I think the honestly the cool thing about social media is that people are just starting to see different opinions and aspects, and some things click for them at a subconscious level because all marketing is subconscious. This is the reason why I teach nervous system. Is like I'm like, you get to know you, but watch you get to know you better. You get to know your clients better, and you know how to speak to them better. You're gonna get more clients. Like it's literally like it's all intertwined. It's like you
Right.
can't have one without the other for me. And so like for this, I feel like it's all different ages. I feel like I have men in their 60s joining my spaces, even though it's mostly women's space. And they're like, we just love what you got to say. And I've never heard this before in my life. Or my own dad, like he's in his 60s too, and he's like first time ever doing meditations with me, and he's like, this is life-changing stuff,
Yeah.
and then I've got like really young people who are, of course they're I feel like the young, especially um Gen Z X vibes, Gen Zs, I think it is, where like they have so much access to it, so they've kind of been brought up into it that it feels like this is just kind of like, yeah, like, what I think they call, like, woke culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
The
woke.
the
Yeah.
hearts, these hearts instead of these hearts, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm over here
Yeah.
being like, I don't know what the
Yeah.
difference is. But, like, it's like that. It's so, like, I feel like the younger, they're very apt to being more open. I feel like the older generation, I feel like is also open, but they do have they're set in their ways. So I'm not really sure if I would put it into a demographic. I just feel like if you're searching for it deep, it's gonna show up and something's gonna resonate and you're gonna all of a sudden follow. And then all of a sudden you'll follow this and all of a sudden you follow that. And all of a sudden now your feed is filled with all this stuff that you're like, I didn't even realize I was spiritual. Now I get all this.
Yeah.
Or I didn't even realize that like I had trauma or that I had this or that or whatever, and then they just like kind of go down a rabbit hole they don't even realize. So that's why I think social media is such a brilliant piece of technology, because it's like here you have AI basically training itself to find out what you like, but subconsciously you are choosing what you like. You're not consciously being like, well, I want to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to like this. You're subconsciously, unconsciously doing it. So you're creating this algorithm of things you like, but maybe you would never tell anybody that you liked those things, right? It's like
Right.
a
Right.
hidden core desire. And I feel like that's like kind of how people kind of discover where the direction that they want to go in.
Yeah, the human psychology thing is always really interesting, like from all
Same,
aspects, right? Even from
same.
marketing. I'm a marketer by, that's my true
Yeah.
passion in life is marketing. And so I'm always looking at the psychology. Even just yesterday I was having a conversation with our team internally and I was like, I was at the store the other day and I was, contemplating whether I should buy a 2 liter versus a 12 pack of soda pop. And so I'm applying this to my own businesses. I'm like, I got to apply the way I think as a consumer to the way people that come to my business and shop. And I have to understand that psychology because it's not just as simple as, oh, yeah, let's create this flashy graphic and put it all over social media. And for sure, that'll bring new people to our website. It doesn't work that way. You have to
Hmm.
find that trigger mechanism in people and what really gets them to go through that process. But I think in respect to like spiritual stuff, especially, we're like always looking for that spiritual connection
Hmm.
as human beings. And I'm just talking on a simple level. Like
Yeah.
I'm not getting into religion and all of that kind of stuff. That's
No,
way into the
no,
weeds.
no,
Yeah.
nothing organized. Spirituality is
No.
just you just believe in something bigger than
No. Your
yourself. That's
connection
it.
with the energy in the universe, simple,
Yeah.
right? That's spirituality. But I think like most people make that connection through trauma based experiences, right? Or they feel the pull to make that connection through trauma, right?
Hmm.
That, that's my experience from a psychological
Okay.
aspect. Do you agree with that?
I can see where you're coming from in that. I also truly believe that trauma is such a deep word that people think it doesn't, we could call it like micro and macro trauma, really, because like even I saw it the other day. I was walking next to the library and a mom had her little 5-year-old, And she was like, let's go. We've got to go. And he's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. So she goes to leave him and she basically abandons him in the library and leaves and he starts screaming and he runs out to her and grabs her. And she's like, I said, we got to go. He's like, oh, mom, you're going to leave me. That right there is micro trauma. It's like you don't even realize it that we do
Yeah.
this all the time. And it's not that she's a bad parent. That's nothing. It is what it is, you know? But at the end of the day, like that starts to create what we call the psyche house. And so it's like the psyche house is built and all these parts are built inside of it. And this little experience of abandonment is going to be like, if I don't listen, I will be abandoned. If I don't do this, I will be abandoned. So it starts to create a belief system, and then that's where it kind of goes in. So I look at it from, for sure, a big traumatic experiences absolutely make you want to find some sort of tribal communal mentality where people are like, okay, because the whole point, the brain is so beautiful, but we all desire control and we want to be able to control and understand why. And while that's so amazing, control is an illusion. And this is going way off, but like I won't even go into that. But like when I go into like expert mode psychosomatics, it's like, where can we actually just release that control of trying to control the situation or trying to control our circumstances, and first, and just mostly just like all real self acceptance. But at the end of the day, when people first find like spirituality um or just like looking for a desired group, it's like our first basic need aside from food, water, shelter is community. We desire to be a part of something. We desire to be a part of something, anything. And so
Right.
I think I look at this from like, yes, from a trauma perspective into spirituality, like absolutely people want to be a part of something, but then also from like a branding perspective, people want to be a part of something. And so if your values, yeah, cool graphics not going to get someone in there, but if your values match someone else's values, then that's where actually like I'm going to bandwagon on that. So when I say things like, and I say pretty polarizing things where I'm like, to people who don't believe that money buys happiness means I look at it like actually money does buy happiness, because like, and I'll just stop it from there. But like to the people that think that money doesn't buy happiness just means you haven't given enough away. And that's how I think about it, because I'm like, fuck yeah. Do you know how much money I've given away and been generous with? Like the fact that I can pay for my parents' mortgage, like that's fucking awesome. So I look at it from that. Like, and people will hate it and be like, money doesn't buy happiness. It's not all about money. All you care about is money. And I get that all the time. Or people love it and they're like, yes, I want this. This is what I'm bandwagoning on. This is what I'm about. And it's the same thing with spirituality. It's like, I'm a spiritual bitch. I'm spiritual and wealthy. Most people don't like the dichotomy of that. And so, like, so the polarization of owning who I am, it is very attractive and also repelling, but that's what I want. I don't want to be liked. I'd rather be hated and loved. And so that the right people come into my space. And from a buyer psychology perspective, I want people to buy. So I'm going to move people to buy by saying these things, by owning who I am, all of me. And other people, high level buyers, will be attracted to that. It's the reason why I am a semi-retired tattoo artist. I only tattoo like 6 to 7 days a month and still continuously make over 10K months just from tattooing. And so it's because of the fact that like my people, my clients are like, they don't even see my tattoos. They only see my business and marketing and psychology and spiritual posts from my main brand posts, like my main brand feed. And they're like, I come to you because of this shit. Your tattoos are
Mhm.
awesome, but you're fucking like it is the craziest thing to think about that like my clients are obsessed with the fact that I have the audacity to say the shit that I do online. And they're like, I just want the audacity to do the same thing. So I'm going to come get tattooed by someone like that. It is the craziest thing. And I don't even post tattoos anymore on my main page. And people come and get tattooed by me all the time. I'm booked out till next year, gone. And so I'm like, this is how I know it works. Like, this is how I know the marketing works. If you're being polarizing, if you're owning who the fuck you are, if you really just like know how to speak about it. I mean, obviously, there's like strategy structure behind messaging, posting content, this kind of stuff, but that's easy stuff to learn. It's like the harder stuff is actually owning who you are, which
Yeah.
is, I feel like,
Believing in
the
yourself.
biggest. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really owning that,
Hmm.
which is what we see with most successful people. Like, anybody that's really super successful on YouTube, that's like the predominant trait that they have. Like they are just out there with who they are. They don't care what other people think necessarily. They just do the damn
Yeah.
thing,
I
you
think
know?
we
So
care. I think most people care. I
yeah,
think
but I think that they have enough money to buy the happiness to where it kind of washes that away.
I look at it from the I look at it from the perspective that like I won't tell people I don't care. I do get hurt. I do still feel hurt.
Mm.
However, I am very mission heart driven led. So like I'm trying to build a global movement versus just a business. Like
Yeah,
I want to build a global company. I want people to learn how to unmerge all over the world so that they can live the life that they desire and scale their money. Like I want people to be able to have create generational wealth while having generational
yeah,
healing. Like I'm
yeah,
down for that. Like that's my vibe. So I look at it from the perspective of my purpose is bigger than what people are saying. I care a lot because I care about what people care. I care about people like me. I like that. Like I own that shit. I know that. Look what I did. Like I fucking took tattoos that were mine and posted them as my own just to get love from my peers. Like,
right.
come on. Like, of course I care about what people think of me. And at the end of the day, my purpose is so big, my why is so big now that it's like, yes, I'm scared some days to post certain things, but then at the end of the day, I always look at I'm like, is this going to help one person see themselves how I hope that someone would have taught me to see myself, then it's a go. Then it's a post. Then you do it. Then you do the thing. And so that's kind of like how I see it. I don't know how most YouTubers are, but my partner is a huge YouTuber. So he's like million subs, the whole thing. Like he makes all of his money, a lot of his money on YouTube, and he's very like he's very mission driven like myself. So and he's he's I'm not in the YouTube world, so he's in that world, so I kind of get to be fly on the wall of that. And I just noticed that like if it's mission driven, it's much easier to be able
Mhm.
to say the things that you want to say even when you're scared.
Right. Well, let's go back to the tattoo piece just a little bit because I
Yeah.
do want to dig into that. So it's interesting topic of conversation in the tattoo space, specifically when you look at artists that decide to branch out of that career path and
Mm-hmm.
take on a secondary career path. Like I
Mm-hmm.
just had Kevin Beckvar on, who's in Temecula, California, and he just got into real estate a couple years ago. And so, he's like, I want to make that real estate money. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't have a problem with that. It's cool.
Yeah.
But I do talk to a lot of like hardcore
Yeah.
industry people, and they're not like really, they kind of shit on people when they go out and get another job or they want to take a path and diversify outside of tattooing. What are your thoughts on that? And how do you, I'm sure you said when you revitalized your career after everything you went through that you were still kind of getting some negative flack and some
Yeah.
things like that. So have you gotten, well, I have a two-part question. The part one question is, your clients in the coaching thing, I'm assuming, are not just tattoo artists. You probably have a pretty diverse customer base, different
Hmm.
walks of life. And then the second part of that question is, what do you say in regards to like a tattoo artist that might be thinking about going down a different career path and trying something different and still maintaining their tattooing on the side, but maybe they have interest outside of tattooing that they want to pursue?
I look at it in a way that's like I totally understand the traditionalists. Like they want to stay in that realm. Fucking all the power to you, my friend. Like I love that for you. Like I love that for you. Um, would I shit on it? No. I think people that shit on other people is because they're actually just jealous. But that's where I'm at. Like I would never shit on someone or anybody out there if I would never trade places with them. So like if I that's what I'm like you know what I mean? Like I feel like the whole part of shitting when you're at the top, you don't shit on people. Like that's kind
Right,
of how I feel. Like
right.
I'm surrounded by 7, 8, 9 figure earners all the time. And I've never heard them once talk shit about anybody. And it's because they're in their own lane. They're like
And they
looking
don't
like
have
this.
time to focus on
So
anybody else.
I'm like anybody that's shitting on anybody for any reason, it's like you're jealous, you don't have any other, maybe you're scared to do it. So I'll just throw that out there for anybody. And that's my polarizing thing to say about that. However, if any, like for me in my world, so I only did tattoo artists for the first 4 years of my coaching business. And then this year was actually the first year that I started branching out because I stopped teaching people. I did have like a couple of people from other walks of life, but I only focused on tattooers for a really long time. And then as I started to evolve, I was like, "Hey guys, like I'm evolving." And a lot of my tattooer clients like ended up falling off because like my tattoo artists ended up falling off because they weren't going in the direction that I was going. And I was okay with that. And I'm like, I'm cool with that. So because of the fact that now I don't only teach service providers to book out, like it's like now it's like go from one to one to one to many because I'm like, where can we maximize our freedom? Where can we create more freedom within our life to spend more time spend more time doing the things that we love doing. And for me, that's big on family. And so like I don't want to miss out on my parents retiring and stuff like this. And I also want to spoil them rotten. So for me, that feels like that's my next evolution. So I decided to continue to go that route. So there's always a feeling in your body when you know that you're going to evolve, whether this be a tattoo style, whether this be um where you live, where you feel there's a nudge inside of you that you feel something. This is great. I'm not ungrateful, but I'm always open to more. And that's kind of like where I'm at. So it's like for me, I'm just whenever I feel that nudge, I'm like, yeah. And pivots are hard for a lot of people. That's why I don't judge the tattoo artist because pivots are hard. If you want to stay in this world because you know it so well, fuck yes. Like that's awesome. Pivoting is it's personal development on crack. You're really going to get to know how well you're going to hold the power when you realize your income dips, when you're not, when the comfort zones are off, and you're like, wait a minute, I was really comfy here because everybody knew me. I did this thing. It's like, oh, I forget who it was, but it was a really famous tattooer. He used to only do Japanese traditional, and then he went straight into neo-realism. And it was like crazy for him, but he's like, I don't give a fuck. He's like, I just want to do what I want to do. And I'm like, that kind of pivot is just as hard as like taking on another, like going on and starting a brand new business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
that's what I look at it as. So it's like the nudge is there. However, pivoting is really, really hard because everybody likes their comfort zone. We've done it once when we were young, but now that we're older, we're like, well, our circumstances have changed. Our lifestyle, how much money we pay for our lifestyle, are we willing to pivot and maybe see a dip? Can we hold the dip and continue to go on knowing that like I'm gonna make a future I'm gonna make my dreams outweigh my fears, because that's the biggest part, is, like, do your dreams outweigh your fears? And that for me is, like, every time I feel the nudge, I'm like, "Fuck, do I have to right now? I could just stay here, it's comfy," because like, I'll be honest, like, even though I've probably quadrupled my income since 2020, this year was a hard year because I pivoted in a direction that, like, a lot of people were like, "This is different," and I knew I was like, "Okay, if I can hold for a full year and be okay with whatever happens, I'm gonna make it through the other side." Like, I believe that the difference between someone that makes a million and someone that doesn't is the one that did just stayed longer. Like, that's it. I
Right.
don't really think it takes a rocket science to figure it out. It's like I know how to stay longer than most, and that's the reason why I have seen the levels of maybe financial success, but I think of success even more as just feeling really satisfied and feeling really good and feeling really just fulfilled in the moment at any given moment, whether I'm making money or not. And that for me is like big success because I've seen people make lots of money and still feel unsuccessful. And I've seen people make no money and feel unsuccessful. And it's just
Yeah.
like I get to see the myriad of different things and I'm like, what's success to me? But yeah, in this, I feel like pivots are hard to do it. There is a strategic way to do it, I think, and at the end of the day, like, I also feel like a lot of tattooers that come into my world are ready for that pivot, and that's the reason why they hire me.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of The Business of Tattooing. Now, let's talk some real business. You're already using Electrum products. You're already tagging Electrum products because you love Electrum products. But why aren't you getting paid for using and tagging Electrum products? Well, I'll tell you why. because you haven't signed up to Electrum Insiders yet. But now you can, and it's real easy. Just scan this QR code on your screen or go to electrumsupply.net today to learn about Electrum Insiders and how you can earn cold, hard cash for doing what you're already doing. We want to thank you at Electrum for using our products, so we created the Electrum Insiders program exclusively for artists just like you. So don't hesitate. Get on over to electrumsupply.net today and start earning money for the content that you're already creating. Now, let's get back to this week's episode. Because they're looking for something different.
Yeah. Well, they feel it in their bones. And since I'm a coach, like they feel like they want to impact more people than just the one-to-one experience with their clients. And the conversations that they have with their clients it's like a revolving door. And they notice that, like, this is the thing we're talking about. This is what they're obsessed with. And oftentimes, especially if they come into my world, it's like spirituality, like personal development, growth, business. Like they want to kind of branch out and help others do that same thing, at scale. So like more than one person at a time. And so yeah, and then yeah, it's just one of those things where you feel the nudge. It's whether or not you'll take the leap.
Sure, sure. It doesn't seem like your business, your tattoo business especially, is really sensitive to, some of the economic hardships that the tattoo industry is going through right now. Especially, it's been pretty challenging, really since
Yeah.
COVID for a lot of people, I think. And then, of
Yeah.
course, you have all these, political agendas playing out now in the economy, and it's really making things difficult for a lot of business owners. I feel like, and consumers in general. I think a lot of people
Hmm.
are just paycheck to paycheck. Uh,
Yeah.
and but you've been able to maintain a pretty steady business and actually still continue to grow your business. Like you said, you're only tattooing 6 or 7 days a month, and you're still pulling in $10,000 months, even only tattooing at that rate.
Yeah.
So, how do are you still tuned into like what's going on, and or not
I
really, because
do.
it doesn't really affect you as much?
I do and I don't. The thing is that I'm a firm believer on my outside circumstances. It's not personal to me. Like, it's like, and I think a lot of people get really disgruntled about this. I was having this conversation with my best friend, and I was like, listen, I'm not saying that I'm not fully immersed in it. I just don't take it personal to where it affects the way that I move in the world. And that's I feel like is a really hard concept, and I won't draw this out very long because it's a bigger conversation to have. However, the things that are happening outside of me are going to continue to happen outside of me, whether I want them to or not. How do I want to be and act during those times every single day? I just hold a high level of standard for who I am and how I move in the world, regardless of my circumstances. Because when my standards are high, my circumstances have no other choice but to rise. So that's for me is the biggest thing. So when 2020 happened, we all had to shut down. I wasn't the freebie girl that got the only was the one that could keep it open. We all had to shut down. So what did I do? I started coaching. I was like, you know what? I've already wanted to do this. Let's just continue. And actually, this gave me the time to do it. And so then it was like, oh, I can do this. I can help people in a bigger way. It's like we find other ways to go about it. I think what it is that there's a lot of ego playing out here where it's like if I can't continue to do what I've been doing for the last 5 years and it still works, I'm going to be mad at all the circumstances around me. So if I was making XYZ money 10 years ago, but now social media has killed it and now I don't have a business and now there's 20 million tattoo shops down the road, like you're literally giving your power away to outside circumstances that were going to happen with or without you, regardless if you were alive or if you weren't. It was going
Right.
to happen. Something like this was going to happen. Wars were going to happen, things like this. So I have, and I say this because I have people in my world from overseas who are currently experiencing other world country situations like war, and they are still here in the space, investing in themselves, doing the thing. So I can't have I just don't appreciate victim mentality. I can understand the circumstances and us like, this is what this is. This is what's happening. This is the economics. This is the political views. What can I do to serve myself and to make me feel really, really good and really, really fulfilled in this moment? And if that just means that I go walk outside and take a breath of fresh air, then that might be what it is. Maybe I go put my feet in the sand or in the grass or in the snow or wherever you're at. Like the littlest things that you have control over, and this is just really all I see out there is it just giving people, hey, a wake up call that you actually have zero control. So let's liberate that. Like that's actually so liberating to realize like I don't have to control this whole world in order for me to feel good. Like
I love
I
that.
only have to do it with me. That's amazing. Thank you for showing me that cuz like now I'm just like cool. So I only have to focus on me right now. That gets to be awesome. And then that me focusing on me actually gives others permission to focus on themselves and then what the ripple effect happens where we're like all now we're looking at this from like a place of power versus a place of victim. That's kind of like how I look at the situation. So it's not that I'm blind to it, it's that I'm just neutral about it.
Yeah, I love that perspective, especially as you reflect on like a lot of the darkness in the world today. Really, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really important to be able to make that. Um, I don't want to say disconnect because I feel like disconnect isn't the right thing to do, but exercising control over the circumstances. I really like the way you
Yeah.
put that into perspective. That's good.
Yeah. Neutrality is everything. I'm like, it's not that I don't I'm not in it or I'm not witnessing it or I don't have my own opinions about certain things. But I also know that opinion is ego and that I don't really want to be run by my ego. I want to be run by the self. I want to be run by the energetic levels of consciousness that allow me to even be on this planet. So I'm like, I have a preference and I could either fall prey to that preference, ruin my day, make it really bad, make it feel really bad, or I can play in the power play and just be like, this is what's happening. I can feel a part of me doesn't like this. I'm gonna honor that part of me that doesn't like this. But
Hmm.
I'm also gonna honor the part of me that does want to stay neutral and does like feeling the expansion part of life, which is like fulfillment and satisfaction and peace.
Yeah, it's really hard for people to make that. Um, it's really hard for people to do that, though. I
I
feel like.
know. It's but I mean, you're a tattooer listening to this fucking podcast. It was really hard to learn how to tattoo in the very beginning, but you practiced, motherfucker. So,
And you get
I,
better by practicing, right?
so I'm sorry. If you want it, you can have it. It's just a practice. I look at businesses. The coolest thing about being an artist is being an artist. We take chaos and
Mhm.
turn it into gold. But then if we're really good artists, that means we also treat our business like athletes because we have endurance and we practice. So it's like if I can be an artist and take my chaos and turn it into gold and be an athlete and use endurance and practice over and over again, I'm gonna get really good at what I do. Like I'm
Yeah,
gonna get really,
yeah,
really fucking good at what I do.
yeah. I always try to simplify that when I talk to people. I'm like, listen, because I feel like tattooists, especially, really box themselves into this corner sometimes, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I'm a
I love
tattoo
us, but
artist.
man, yeah, I
They
agree.
they're like, I'm a tattoo artist, and that's it, But
Yeah.
you're really not. You're an artist. Like if you're truly an artist, you're an artist, and you enjoy art in all types of forms. I mean, some people are botanists. To me, that's an art form. Like
Same. Yeah.
I can't go, I can't take care of plants the way that somebody else that's super passionate about plants and knows everything about plants and it's their whole life. Like that's an art form to me.
Mhm.
Music is an art form. Sculpting is an art form. There's just uh, landscape people that you see out trimming bushes in front of that's an art form. Like this is
Yeah.
just what. So I think it's a really bad I won't say death trap, but almost a death trap to get boxed into a creative corner like that because I feel like a true artist wants to be able to express themselves and their ideas in all sorts of different ways and mediums, right? Like just like you with coaching as an art form, like
Exactly.
everybody
Exactly.
can't do that, and it takes practice to get good at that.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how many rooms that you've spoken in front of 1,000 people, but I imagine by the time you do it 100 times, it becomes just as easy as putting on a pair of pants in the morning. You know what I mean? Like,
It's funny, like I think the 1,000 was the biggest for me, but it wasn't my first time. Last I've been doing it for the past 2 years, and it had grown from like 20 people to 2 to 4. 1,000 was the biggest, and I was just like, what am I looking at right now? And I think that's where it's like yeah, it's all just it's practice. And I feel like that also can be made into an art form as well. Like, it's just being good at your craft. Like, I look at business coaching, content, I look at all of it as art. That's why I enjoy it. I'm like, I don't get why people don't enjoy this, but I'm okay with that too. You don't have to. Like, it's not my business to tell you what you should or shouldn't enjoy. But I just don't see I'm like, this is a part of the entire ecosystem that is me building a creative business. Is that like it's not just about the tattoo,
yeah,
there's the art of the email, there's the art of the content, there's the art of like the messaging and the visuals, and like I look at all of it as intertwined. And so I just don't like, for me, I'm like, I love it all and I want to master it all. So like I'm here for, like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I'm here for mastery every day. So that if I'm here for mastery, that means I'm practicing every day. And
right.
I do. Yeah.
Now, I don't know how big your coaching business is, but have you gotten to a point where you have other people helping you out behind the scenes doing things? Like, I was talking to Mikey Getz, and he was doing I don't know if he's still doing it. I think he is, but they had the Force of Focus where he's doing some coaching stuff with some tattoo artists too. But when I was talking to him, he's like got a whole team of people. Like, he's got, people that are emailing people that are setting up schedules. Then he's got like a whole team of coaches that he like. Or is your business kind of like that, or are you just doing this all by yourself all the time?
No, no, I'm not a solopreneur, but I definitely, so my business model, I didn't want high overhead. So again, my partner, really big coach, he's a coach in the golf industry, big in YouTube. He's got like 12 people and his profits are awesome, but they could be better. And I'm a two-per. So the way I built my business model is that I don't need other coaches. So I teach artists how to create a methodology that sells without them so that they can go and tattoo still. So like I can still create massive results and transformation through a specific framework and methodology that people move through. And then they see results on the other side. And I have mentorship. So like I have tiered experiences where there's experiences where you don't actually have access to me at all. And so people are continuing to buy programs or courses and things like this. And then we have other tiered experiences where you do have access to me, but that might be like once a week. And so I've really trained my model to be about one to many. And I only have to have a team of 3. So I don't have any other coaches with me that do it. Not that I pay. I mean, most of the time, what's so cool about my community is that like as I help build coaches within my community, so they basically can start a brand new business with me, or they can take what they're already doing and like really structure it correctly, or in a way that really supports them and their desire and their lifestyle. Because I knew that my lifestyle, if I wanted to build a multi-million dollar company, I didn't want it to have to feel like I had to have 100 people under me in order to pay them all. And so I had built my model based on another coach who has a 9-figure company who's only like 5 people in her world. So I was like, I just go and follow those people. I'm like, okay, how are they creating their businesses so that I can model mine after their business, and so that I can continue to create something that feels less overhead and really free and liberating. Because I don't want to create myself another job. Like I love what I do. And I love my freedom. And I love that like my mom could call me in the middle of the day and just say, "Hey, do you want to hang out?" And I can say, "Yes." And I
Yeah.
can still continue to create income and have people buying from me and getting massive results through my work while I'm having mimosas with my mama.
Are you writing a book?
Actually, I've been asked a couple of times. So I probably will. It's been a topic of conversation that'll probably be my next level. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is probably a big conference that I'd love to throw. A big conference. I've been speaking at so many conferences that I've been really getting to know what this looks like and like the world's like this. And my community is pretty badass and I love them so much. I love creatives. I think creative people are so fun and we just have a different way of thinking. And I think that that's just like really like we're very multi-passionate. So it's like where can we take all this multi-passion and not try to box it in, but also create structure around it so that we can continuously make sure that we're creating more and more freedom within our lives, but also massive impact in others. And so that's kind of like, I think that might be my next move. But yeah, there's a book coming through, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah. But a lot of people say that to me. They're like, "Are you going to write a book soon?" I was like, "I will. I'm
Yeah,
just
I
not
can
on the
feel that. I
bandwagon
think, it's interesting because there are a lot of people out in the coaching space these days. Like
now."
there's
Yeah.
just
It's huge. It's
it's a
huge.
huge thing, right? And I can personally tell the ones that like I feel like are really invested in it, and then the ones that are just like, maybe this will work. Let me try this kind of. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Hmm.
They're not really committed to it. They're just like, if it works, I'll get committed. But
Yeah.
the energy's
That's
just not the same.
that's so interesting.
Is
Such an
it?
interesting thing. If it works, then I'll get committed. That is like such a backwards thing to say for
But
someone.
there are people out there like
I
that.
know. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You have to commit before it works. Like you got
Right. Right. It's like, but again, I think it all has to do with what we were talking about in the beginning. The people with that mentality are the people that are not finding ways to get around the self-sabotage,
Yeah.
the protector person, right? Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
just scared to jump off of that cliff,
Yeah.
jump out of that airplane. You got to just go.
And it's like a scary thing though, so I don't fault anybody for it. It's not like, I the saying just do it. I'm like, no, don't just do it. Like, really like, yes, just do it, but also do it in a way that's like super supportive to your nervous system.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people that I look up to in this space would be like Tony Robbins or
Mhm.
Gary Vee's another one. David Goggins. I mean, these guys are just phenomenal people, right? That are like so committed to their lifestyle, like they
Yeah.
live it, breathe it, eat it every day. Who are some people that inspire you and like that you look up to? Because I'm sure being a human every day isn't like sunshine and rainbows as much as you want it to be.
No.
You
Yeah.
certainly have some dark clouds that come in and weigh over your head sometimes and try to put rain on you. When are some resources that you revert to and you say, when you have a moment of weakness, who are those people that you look to for inspiration?
I think I think for me it's a really this is really interesting. So how can I answer this question that's really supportive to me? I think about what's the truth. The truth is I really love all experiences. I don't the rain cloud days, the bad days, the days where I wanna numb and Netflix and maybe smoke some weed and just be like, "I wanna disassociate with the world," like, I enjoy those days too. Like, I think depressive vibes, like, I'm just like, I'm not feeling like things aren't working, I my favorite thing and I would have to attribute this to Michael A. Singer. He's an incredible human being. I love him so much. My work is actually based a lot around his work. My signature methodology called the emerging is based around his work because what I love about it so much is that it's not that we're chasing good days, is that we are opening ourselves up to anything and all experiences that we're meant to have and just considering them energy instead of it being a preference between good and bad because I could look at something good and you could look at it as bad. Like I could love roller coasters and you can fucking hate them and we're both waiting in the same line and you're fucking pissing your pants and I'm over here being like, "Whoa!" But it's the same thing, you know? So it's like I like and it would probably be the other way around because I'm not very fan of
Yeah.
roller coasters. But like I look at that and I'm like, can I just be open to what life has to offer and let life and just be a good life artist? And that's really where it's at. And so Michael A. Singer would be the guy that I go to every day, from the Surrender Experiment to, oh gosh, The Untethered Soul, which is a book that I like basically give out like fucking Halloween candy to my students and things like this. Or when people ask me, what books do you read? I'm like, this is my Bible. Like, this is my Bible. So Michael A. Singer is a big one for me. I love Peter Crone. He's amazing as well. The way that he calls it like the mind architect, the way he architects around like certain things. But I what I love about neutrality is that neutrality is such a peaceful feeling that I'm like, can I just have neutrality when someone cuts me off in the middle of the road and I just get really angry about it and I just laugh at my anger right now? Can I have neutrality when I'm feeling like nothing is fucking working and nobody loves me and nobody wants to buy from me? Can I have neutrality when people cancel on me morning of, you know what I mean? Like, can I allow myself to have the feeling of anger and disruption, and also just be like, "Oh, I'm open to this feeling as well," because I think what happens is that we try to hold it down, like, "I don't wanna be mad," or "I don't wanna be mad," or "I don't wanna be sad," and I'm like, "Well, no, actually, like, let it happen," and I think that it kind like, emotions are just like language of the body, it's just meant to move through you, and if you just let it, it's like it's actually just a really beautiful experience that you just continue to stretch your capacity, and I look at this, like, if you really wanna play in the goal game, because I love goals for me. I look at it as like the more that I can do that, the more I stretch my capacity and I like unlock, I break that glass income ceiling or that glass havingness ceiling. Since I speak a lot in money, I always talk about the income ceiling, like where we have this income ceiling, but it's like energetic income ceiling. The way that we kind of remove that is like just letting like letting life be happen all the time. And so, yeah, so I would say Michael A. Singer would probably be the best one to that has taught me the best about how being a life artist is like the way I want to be.
Yeah, that's cool. Let me ask you this question. Um, do you feel like how how high is the bar for Reese? Like how high does Reese set the bar for Reese? You know what I mean? So like you said, I'm cool some days where I can just smoke some weed and disassociate and
Yeah,
deal with the depressy days or whatever.
yeah.
But if there's a day where you're just like, fuck it, I'm not getting out of bed today. I'm just gonna Netflix all day and just chill, take it easy. Do you feel like shit about yourself if you have a day like that, or are you just
Ooh,
cool with it?
great question. It's a great question. Um,
You're like, I wasted a whole fucking day of productivity, you lazy piece of shit. You know, because that's what I say to
that's
myself.
such a protector. It's such
That's
a
me saying
protector.
that to me, by the way.
Right? Like, so I feel like, because like perfect like what is it? Like perfectionism, right?
Mhm.
Perfectionism, like people like to wear perfectionism like a fucking badge of honor. But whenever someone says is like, I'm a perfectionist, and I'm like, oh, so you're overly critical with yourself and tell yourself that you're so horrible until you're not good enough and then you don't do anything. Yeah, that's awesome. I love being a perfectionist for you. Because perfectionism is literally you just over criticize yourself until nothing into nothingness.
Right.
And the only way we know how to move is through stress. We're like, oh, I've only learned how to teach myself how to move or to get better at things is by telling myself I'm not good enough, but we've never experienced the other way. We've never experienced the other way where we're like, can I, instead of moving moving because of pain, like mean talk, can I actually move because of desire and like move because I'm devoted to it? So, for instance, I look at this like gym, weight, body image issues, I've had them. I know my girlies out there, we have them, men out there, you have them. We love you. And it's like, oh, you look ugly today. And then we get ourselves to the gym, right? You look ugly, you dirty little whore. You go into the gym. Or you look at yourself and you're like, "Wow, I'm looking really good today, but I could feel a little bit better. How about I go to the gym?" Right? So there's 2 ways to going about it. We like to push ourselves and punish ourselves, which is a fun way, and then we have this other way. So, like, I kind of, like, taught myself how to choose which one I really wanna operate from. So when I have bad days, it does not mean that I don't berate myself. It just means that I know how to catch it when I do. So whenever I'm like, "You lazy little bitch," and I'm like, "Oh,"
Who
I'm
said
like,
that?
"Oopsies." You're cute. I love you. And so like the thing is that again, when I call it the unmerging, is I just unmerge from the voice. I'm like, oh, I do think I'm a lazy bitch. That's really interesting. Okay. I'm like, and what's funny about it is that I actually do like laugh. Like I look like the crazy girl talking to herself across like on the street by herself because I'm always like having inner conversations with my 19 personalities and just trying to like for all of us to have an inner community where we can all trust each other. So if she does call me a lazy bitch, I'm not going to take it to heart. You know what I mean? So yeah, so it's not that I don't have those voices, it's more that I understand what to do with them when they come. And so does it affect me the rest of the day? No, not anymore, which I'm really proud to say. It might affect me in the moment when I say it, when I'm like, you're a lazy bitch, you just wasted a whole day, da 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 da. 5 minutes, it's probably long as it lasts. And then when I unmerge from it, I'm like, oh, that was really sweet. You're trying to protect me. We had a good day. Did we not like the Netflix things that we watched today? We did, didn't we? Okay, so we're not gonna get mad at that. Like, so then we
Taking
have
the
an inner
positives.
dialogue. Yeah.
Take the positives from it.
Yeah, always, always. Like I've got ways for everything.
No, I've had to do, I asked that question because that's like one of my biggest struggles as an entrepreneur, like I
Yeah.
feel like I've always got to be doing something. Like
Yep.
I can't waste a moment. If I'm awake, I got to be productive. Boop. But I've had to get I don't do the same methodology as you. I need to look into that some, but like I've had to give myself permission to be like take some downtime. It's okay to take some downtime. You can
Yeah.
focus on you sometimes. Like go for a hike if you want to go for a hike. It's not a crime.
Well, I almost look at it from the perspective of like, too, on the other side of it, too. It's like when you go and do, like, I feel like the best thing I ever did for my business was to fucking go surf,
Yeah, just
was to
get
go for
connected.
the hike, was to go for the walk. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm better at ideas. I mean, obviously, if we want to go the scientific route, like, science over and over and over will prove to you that the more that you actually take time away is the more you're actually going to give yourself a better focus time in it instead of just driving. Because the thing is that productivity does, like, where productivity is great when it's done from the part of the brain that is innovative, inventive, and creative. But when it's done from a place of I am unworthy unless, that's a trauma response. And so it's not actually being creative, inventive, or innovative. You're actually just trying to do something to hide the fact that you feel unworthy. And so that's where we have to understand the play on this. So actually go surf, go take your time
Yeah.
off. Like it actually is better for your business. It's better for your productivity. It's better for your creativity. It's better for your marketing, your sales, like all your sales, your messaging, your websites, like all the things, to take the time away. And then we can kind of dissect, oh, well, then why do I feel like I need to? And then there's that worthiness piece of like, well, I'm not worthy if I'm not doing something. I'm not worthy of maybe the things that I'm receiving. Oh, of course, I didn't receive anything today because I didn't do anything yesterday. So we create evidence
Mhm.
for that belief system to continue to pop up in our bodies. So, yeah.
And it's funny too because we don't associate like me time, like personal care time, the same way that we associate other needs like food and sleep. And you got to have that self-reflective me time just as much as you have to have the other things, because otherwise what you're saying is you're just going to drive yourself into burnout and depression. Like,
Trust me. So when I stopped working like 6 days a week, and I was running like a full blown shop. We had like 5 people in my shop, a revolving door for guest artists. I was tattooing, 10-hour days, plus, managing the shop. I had two um, shop managers, like two shop receptionists and stuff like this. And I mean, going from that to closing it all down to forexing my income to only tattooing 6 days a month, the amount of time I had, I was like, this is what I wanted, but I don't like it. I remember when that happened. I was like, I still have to like recommit to the present moment every single day because of the fact that like I feel it. I'm like, I'm not doing enough. What do I do with my hands? I've worked my whole life. Like how I don't know any other way than to do it bent over, showing everybody my blood, sweat, and tears on
mhm.
how I create income in my life. And so it's like it's such an interesting thing to finally have enough time to be like, I got to look deeper into this because obviously productivity, I have the evidence that me doing more doesn't actually mean getting more because I've just shifted that. I've just basically bought all my time back.
Hmm.
And I have too much time. It feels like too much time. I'm like, "Oh, I have too
Yeah.
much time." Like, where is this coming from? I actually get time to spend with my family. I actually do. I have all the things that I said that I wanted, the reason why I created this thing. And why does it feel like I'm not worthy of what I'm receiving because I'm not doing the same amount of work per hour as I was doing then? So it was a huge like eye-opening experience that when you start to realize like how much you put your worth in your productivity and how much we've been trained to do this. So it's not just you, it's society. It's Western society, period. That they train us to believe that the more hours you put in, like schoolwork, how many hours can you sit a day, how many all this stuff. It's like you look at it from like child school, middle school, high school, college, like all of these things. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that to have time meant I actually have to sit with myself, which most of us don't really like ourselves at the end of the day. And it's like, I didn't even realize how much worth of my worthiness I put on top of this thing. And so I had to like retrain myself to realize that like I was worthy and deserving of of what I was receiving, especially when it came from like a financial energetic perspective by not doing as much. And then it was like it was and I feel like I'm still kind of navigating it to be honest with you myself even now because I still find myself being like well, what else could I do? Should I start a YouTube? Should I do this? Should I do
Yeah. Yeah.
that? You know, you're
Yeah.
like, what else should I do?
Yeah.
And then I'm really like having the faith and the trust that everything's not only working out in my favor at all times, but also that like I don't need to be so productive in order to be worthy, that I'm worthy just by existing. That's a really hard one for a lot of people. And that's something that I'm, walking through and practicing every single day. It's like it's because I've worked hard my whole life up until maybe the last like 3 years, 3 or 4 years where I'm like, oh, should I take on more tattoos? Should I do this or that? Like, you know what I mean? So I get where you're coming from. Like,
Yeah.
it's a really, I will say it's very challenging to be able to feel worthy without having to be productive all day, every day, because we value and we put a lot of value on productivity as a society, as a culture.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting because, like myself, like the things I struggle with the most as a business owner are so entrepreneurship is definitely an art form, but I would consider it to be one of the most sloppy art forms that there are in regards to like, and I say this with context, right? I mean, when you look at all the different aspects and components that go into running a business every day, it is hard to have a pretty picture in front of you. Like it's
Oh, for
just so much
sure.
chaos and noise everywhere. And you're constantly trying to make the best out of oftentimes really bad situations and sales are down. What are we going to do this week?
Yep.
Oh, only this many people opened up our emails. What did we do wrong? It's constantly where
Yeah.
you're just it's like where you're constantly my employees aren't happy this week. What am I going to do about that? Like it's just all these things. So for as a business owner, I feel like it's even compounded in regards to like my self-worth and like am I doing the right things, because it's like
Mm.
you're constantly weighing your value against all these different moving pieces, right? And it's impossible to be good at everything. I feel like it's really hard. So like me lately, I've been like looking at all the stuff that I'm connected to on a this is where our opinions may be like different in regards to money and attachment kind of thing,
Mhm.
right? So like money does buy you happiness, and I do like the way you sum that up in regards to it allows me the freedom to be able to do the things and give to people. That's what feeds my soul, right? And that's what money awards me with. So I get that. But I think also money doesn't buy you happiness in the regards if you're a materialistic person that only wants money to have more possessions. I don't think that leads to happiness. I think that leads to the opposite of happiness, because
Yeah.
it creates more burdens in your life and more things that you have to be responsible for. So lately I'm like, man, I need to just sell all this shit and go buy a little something, nothing, and just be happy with like minimal stuff. You know what I mean?
Actually, we don't differ on that at all. We don't
Yeah.
differ on that at all. Like, I truly, my biggest aha moment is being surrounded by people that are very, very financially rich but emotionally poor. I'd rather be emotionally rich and financially poor any day of the fucking week. But I've been able to utilize my emotionally rich status to create financial abundance. And because of psychosomatics, I truly believe it. Yes, I have ways to grow a brand and build a business and all these strategies behind that. And that's been so helpful. But what I noticed when trying to get other people to have the same result, you're like, I cannot do this for you. Like, I literally cannot. You have to do this for yourself. Why is it so hard? I didn't understand. And it's because most people are emotionally poor. So being surrounded by emotionally poor, financially rich, 8-figure, 9-figure billionaires, like, I couldn't believe I met a billionaire like a few months ago at this conference, and I was like, and it like broke my heart. Is like the loneliest billionaire I've never met one, so I guess the only one I've ever met, but, like, I was like, but it felt like the loneliest thing, like, just all by his lonesome, like, it's just like, for me, that is that sucks. I
Yeah.
would like, "Keep your billions, I don't need none of that, like, I don't need none of
Right.
that
Right.
shit." Like, I don't wanna be alone, I don't want, and it was like a billionaire based off of just, like, accidentally invented a thing, and then now he's a billionaire, you know what I mean? It's like
Right.
it wasn't like in the coaching industry or anything like that, it was just like, "No, I invented, Velcro or something," I don't know, some stupid
Yeah.
thing, and it was
Yeah. I
like the
get it.
most random thing, and I was
Mhm.
like, "It's incredible." So, like, for me, I do truly believe that, like, being emotionally rich is so much more important and so much defines success to me versus financially rich. Well, I feel that you could be emotionally rich and get whatever it is that you want, whether it is financial riches, whether it is getting off the grid and going into the mountains and becoming a Tibetan monk, whether, you know what I mean? It's like it could be
Thought about it.
whatever success looks like to you, but I think egoically we look at success as finances because that's what we've been taught. And so, like, I remember when I had all that success, before I hit my rock bottom, I was so emotionally poor. I could not be happy. I had to have drugs. I had to disassociate. I had to have people tell me they loved me. I had to fly all around the world. I kept trying to escape something, but what I was doing was trying to escape myself, and I couldn't do that. And then when the rock bottom hit, had to be with myself. I was a force. And
Yeah.
I was forced to be by myself with myself to understand me because I didn't understand. Like, I'm like, I would rack my brain. Why would you even do that? Like, dude, or why wouldn't you just delete the photo? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, why would you do that? Like, it made no sense. And I just didn't understand. I was successful. I was booked. I was flying all around the world. People were paying me to do it. And I just could not unhear what these negative comments were having. That made no sense. And so then when I actually had to sit with myself, I was like, oh my God, I don't like me at all. Like, I don't like anything about me. And I put on this mask, and everybody's like, oh, she's so positive. And I'm like, yeah, I want people to think I'm positive. And then I was like, well, that's a little bit me, but is that all of me? Like, what is it? And so then I started going down this route. And then when I started to get to know my inner parts and my psyche and all of these different aspects to me, I was like, okay, this is a part I really like about this race. And I really like about this race. And I really like about this race. This part, I'm not so fond of it, but I'm going to own it. And I love her for that. And it became this point where now it's like emotionally rich was like the only thing I cared about. And then all of a sudden my business started to blow up. And I was like, that is interesting. Now I do value, I'm like, oh, I just want to see how far I could take this. Like, I'm kind of that person. I'm like, I want to be a global revolution. Like, everybody should be emerging. Like, let's all do it together. Like, fuck it. Like, I'm that girl. If it happens, I'm impartial. Like, I'm neutral to it. But the fact is that that's that standard you asked me about. What's the standard I hold for myself? I hold a
Yeah.
high standard because I'm like, well, fuck it. Like, I only have what, like I'm Asian, so I might have another like 60 years left in me because I'll probably live to 150, but oh God, I'll probably live over 100. My mom, who's like my grandmother was over 100. Everybody in my family is
Yeah,
like, they live a
sure.
long time. So I'm like, I might have some time, but not really. Like you don't actually have time. And so I'm like, what do I feel this bigness in my heart? And that's like, okay, let's just go as big as possible. The finances stuff, like it's fun. It's great to measure what you're creating through it. But for me, like deeply, deeply, it's like show me your emotional maturity and rich status, and I'll tell you how successful you are. Like that's really where it lands for me because to be honest, I've had it the other way and I was totally emotionally poor. And it's no
Yeah.
wonder all the things that happened then. And it had to happen in order for me to get to this point here where I'm like, I'm emotionally rich and I'm like, and I'm also creating abundance and this gets to be so fun. And I want to help other people create that same thing. And that's really where I feel like success really falls into.
Yeah, well, again, I wanna just really commend you on your, your growth and, your ability to no, seriously, I mean, just from a friendship standpoint, I mean, we've
Yeah,
been
thank
friends for a
you.
long time, and
I know.
we talk a lot, offline, texting back and forth and stuff, and
Mhm.
I've seen you at your lows and at your highs, and I
Yeah,
do keep up with you on social media, and I see the content that you're putting out there. It's very inspirational to a
thank
lot
you.
of people, and I'm sure you're touching a lot of people in the right way, so I commend you for owning the mistakes that you made and being able to overcome those and find the positives in those and find ways to build yourself up from that rubble. And that's just it's really inspirational to see that when people can do that because a lot of people can't do that. They would just crumble and they'd go away and you'd never see them again. Or
Mm.
it's happened a lot of times. I mean, we all know people like that. That's just happened to. And so I'm really just want to say, good job. That's all.
Thanks, Rob. Like, honestly, you probably have been one of the constant supporters in my life, even during that time. And I've always been so moved by that to really, truly. And I just want to say thank you so much for always just, I'm not sure if it's the word, like, give it benefit of the doubt, but more just like seeing past my mistakes, and you've always had a big heart like that. I think that's the reason why, you know, um Electrum and in the business is like the way it's pivoted even now for you. I'm like I said earlier, it's like pivots are hard. And so the fact that you've been just continuously doing it and I hear a lot of things going on in the industry as well when it comes to even the supply chain on your side of
Yeah,
things. And
yeah,
so it's like you've always had, I mean, this is the reason why I think we're friends. It's because you've always had like a positive outlook on it and you've always had a high level of standard, which I so like admire. And so I just really of course that's why it was like a no-brainer to be like, hell yeah, let's go on a podcast together. We're gonna have a
yeah.
great time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I employ a lot of your philosophies, like when you say I try not to let outside circumstances really impact my there's a lot of outside circumstances that
I
impact
bet.
my business every single day. And I mean, yeah, there's days where I'm just like, man, are we going to be able to keep doing this for another year? Like we
Yeah.
got to turn this ship around. Like this is getting hard. I mean, we're just having tough conversations this morning, like guys, this is our weekly break even number. We've got to hit, we're not hitting this number. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And I talk to other people in the business and they're like, who do you think's going to go out of business this year? Everybody's struggling and who's not going to be here? And I'm like, dude, I don't know, man, but I can't focus on that.
Yeah.
Like
That's definitely not where it's focused
I
on. Yeah.
just can't focus on that. I've got to focus on how I'm going to keep my people getting paychecks every week. And like,
Hmm.
that's my focus. How do I keep serving the community? That's why I started doing my podcast and writing
Yeah.
the business of tattooing because like you, I wanted to share helpful advice to business owners or tattoo artists primarily that
Yeah.
own shops and like because they're tattoo artists. I'm not a business person most of the time. I don't know how to set myself up for retirement. I'm not even thinking past my next appointment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, but see, the thing is that that's why I love the like no gatekeep policy because I'm like, when we're all winning, we all win. Like it truly is like if when you rise, we all get to rise. Like this
Right.
is like this is why I think it's so community is so important, and this knowledge that you're offering is so important because when it's like you do better, we all get to do better. Like we all get to reap the benefits of everybody rising together. So when we kind of I think that's the reason why it's like the way you lead, you become the example. So like for you, Rob, like from me to you, it's like you've always held you've always like were have been so supportive, such a such a great cheerleader, and my like you always send me texts every time you're like, hey, I just love you, whatever, I saw you last
Yeah.
post, it's so good, and shit like that. Like just always just reaching out and always like making sure that we have a lifeline together. And it's I always knew that like if I ever needed anything, if I really desperately needed anything, that you'd be definitely a person that I could like lean on. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's I think that that's like having that connection. We've been doing this almost over 10 years, like our
Yeah.
relationship has been. So it's like when I think about that, like could you imagine like relationships like that where we're all like, "Hey, here's how we're going to do this and I mean, it just makes the whole world go round." So I think
Well,
that yeah, I think what you're doing is really amazing. I love what you've done, and I'm just like, I just can't see you not killing it. So that's where my mind's at. So I'll
well,
just
I
keep
see
sending that good
myself not
juju.
killing it all the time, man. I'm like a super. Oh, I'm such a self sabotager. It's terrible. No, I am. I am.
It's protection.
No, it's bad. It's bad. I've got to get a lot more discipline. I've gotten pretty lazy over the last couple of years, really. I
Well,
went through a
read the book. Read
well,
Untethered Soul. You'll fucking love it. Have you read it?
no,
You
but
read
I'm
it.
gonna get it now because you said
Yeah.
to. But
Yeah.
I
No,
read
you
every
read it.
day. That's my greatest therapy, really reading.
Perfect. Then yeah, you will like it will unlock something in you. And it always unlocks something. It doesn't mean it has to unlock the thing unlocked on me, but it'll unlock something and you'll be like, "Oh, okay." And
Well,
maybe it'll serve you in a beautiful
well, you
way.
know what, Reese? When it comes to just basic friendships, I feel like most people have really shallow friendships that they're
Yeah.
based on really um, not solid foundations. So
Yeah.
like s I have friends that reach out to me, and you know how I balance who's a true friend versus who's not a true friend? It's a really simple rule in my life.
What's that?
The people that message me only when they need something are not
Oh.
really my friends, right? But listen, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of friends that just message me out of the blue and they're just like, "Hey dude, thinking about you. Hope you have a good day." Simple simple quick text and it makes the difference, it makes like a huge difference. So I always try to think about the people that I really care about in my life, you being one of them. That's why I'll say like, I really
Yeah.
love Reese. I want to make
Yeah.
sure Reese is doing good. She's such an
Yeah.
awesome person. So I'll shoot you a text and be like, "Hey, I hope you're having a great day. Love you." That's all.
That's
That's
it.
all I
I
wanted
know.
to say. You know what I mean?
It's the best. Like I'm like, damn, I take a page out of your book there because like I will be honest that I'm not one to ask for help. I that is a habit I'm trying to get better at. I like to pay people for help if I'm going to do anything because I
Yeah.
believe in that. Like I believe in people's value. I think that that's like my biggest thing is that like I'm like if I need help, I'll go get a therapist or
Right.
I'll
And they
go get
suck.
a
Therapists
mentor or a
suck.
coach or something. And so like but other than that like I tend to I guess I just never want anybody to feel like I'm taking advantage of them. But I always love the idea of, like, just reaching out just to be like, "Hey, I'm thinking of you," because, like, that's something I'm really doing my best at. Is like, the thing that where you're walking down the street and you're like, you see someone, they got cool shoes, and you're like, "I should told them they got cool shoes," but you didn't do it because you were embarrassed. I'm like, "No,
Right.
go tell them." So I'll go run over there, and I'll be like, "You have really cool shoes." I'll just
Yeah.
run away.
But you probably made their day.
That's the thing is, like, I
You,
really, like I wanna remember that because it does make my day when you do it for me that I'm like, "Damn, like, I gotta remember to do these things." Like, if I think of them, tell them. Like, when you think of it, say it. Like, that's kind of, like, how I'm like, training myself right now, but you're a fucking gold medalist at that shit. Cause like I have never like when you asked me to be on this podcast, like I get asked a lot, and lately I've been having to turn some down. I would never turn you down, by the way. But like I've had to where I was like, but right when I got it, I was like, Rob's always had my back. And Rob's always had my back because I get a lot of people from the tattoo industry wanting to talk about my capitalized kind of like on my story. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even know you. And you're just asking me out of the blue to
Right.
give you my, and that's my ego talking, but I'm like, you know, and then like, but you, I'm like, of course, oh my God.
Yeah.
so so like I like I love, and I think that that's like it's like honey. You're like honey. You're like not gonna feed the bees vinegar. What's the, or feed the bear vinegar or honey or something like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's so much honey. And so like I think that you've done so, like you create that great connection that I think that a lot of us could really use and do for ourselves as well. Like just really reach out and just say the thing you're thinking. Hey, I'm thinking about you. I love ya. Like I
Well,
love those
you see
messages.
people say that all the time, like especially like if they have somebody close to them die or something, they go through some major traumatic thing or a loss period where they're like, make sure you tell the people that you love them today, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't just think about that in times of like loss or like,
Yeah.
I try to think about it all the time. I'm like, oh, I need to call my mom today, or oh, I need to text my kids, or just, oh, I should go over and see how my neighbor's doing and take them some cookies. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just like,
Oh, that's even better. Stop it. You're killing us. You're
no, I'm
killing
just saying
us.
though,
You're like,
like,
let me take my neighbor some cookies. Dang
no,
it.
I mean, really, like, I know people that don't even talk to their neighbors. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
love my neighbors. My all my neighbors are like older than dirt. Love you guys. They are like, oh I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know how they're doing it, but they are like in their 90s. And one of my neighbors, I go there all the time. Actually, my the people I rent the house from, they asked us, they were like, we think that you're really amazing people, so we're going to ask you one little favor from you. Like, please go check on Gail. She's our 90-year-old neighbor. Just make sure she's good. And I was like, done. I can do that. So I go out and hang out with Gail. And it's like so funny because like I love my neighbors. Like they are they have the coolest stories, especially how old they are.
Yeah.
But like I think that was like my first step into it when my landlords asked me, "Can you do this?" I was like, "Okay," because I was never the neighbor type. I was like, I'm in my hole and don't talk to me and I don't want to talk to anybody, and that, you know, that kind of like very introverted when I want to be introverted and extrovert when I want to be extrovert. So like yeah, I think that's kind of given me a little bit of that push, but I love that you're like bake them cookies. I'm like, this is my next level.
Dude, you know what I mean? Like, I always tell people, I'm like, I was going to start a podcast where I just literally took my stuff out on the street corners and sat down with homeless people and I want to know your story. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
my God.
because there's so much interesting things in the world. Like,
True.
you just got to pick up the rocks and look at what's under them, you know? And like, so many people are just afraid to pick up a rock and like get close to somebody. And it's like if you spray cologne on before you go out in public, right? Obviously you put cologne on because you want to attract other people to you, right? You want people to
Yeah.
come up and be like, you smell so good. You want to start that conversation, right? Well, what
Yeah.
do you do with that, right? Like, you open the door, now what do you do with it?
Yeah.
You start a
Yeah.
conversation and you get to know somebody new, right? Like, that's the whole objective. So like, if you've never talked to your neighbors, take them some cookies today and just get to know who they are. That's
I'm
my
done.
advice.
Done and done. I'm gonna do it. I'll maybe bring them chocolate because I got an overflow of chocolate in my fridge. So
Just got weed in it.
no. Oh gosh, that would be horrible. They probably love it though. I would never want to like just accidentally give someone
Guinea pig them.
weed chocolate. They're like, what? I'm like, no.
You're
Oh
like,
god.
she's an evil neighbor.
I know, gosh. Or she's the greatest neighbor alive. You know, it just depends on who you are.
She roofied
But
my
I
mom.
would ask first, I think. I would ask first.
Well, I love what you're doing. I want you to tell people more about your program, where they can connect with you if they want to connect with you, especially the people that you're trying to connect with. You know what?
Yeah.
Where can people find Reese?
Oh yeah, you find me. Just look up the Art of Reese. I'm pretty much everywhere. Literally Google it. You can find me on Instagram, TikToks, like all the things. Yeah. So the Art of Reese. I have all links there that lead to different different offers that I have for people, anything from free all the way up to close proximity. So if anybody out there is feeling the desire to start creating embodied wealth and passive income, I'm your gal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's next for you then? You said you're going to do some more speaking events. Like,
Yeah, I
what's your
mean,
next goal?
that's a great question. So I think I've gotten to the point in my life where I'm like, wherever life takes me, just hold my level of standard. So I just have a really high standard for the way that I operate in life. And this doesn't mean that I have like I mean, I do have a really heavy routine. You know that I run at 4 in the morning. So
Yep.
but like, I mean, more so from like just opening myself up to like everyday life. Like I truly hope that everybody on this podcast looks at themselves as no longer as just a tattooer, as like they look at themselves as a life artist. Because when we take raw material of life and we turn it into gold, like that just feels like the most fulfilling thing in the whole world. And we're really lucky that we get to do that. So I feel like a lot of people don't see themselves as artists, and that's like so unfortunate because like the being an artist is like pretty much like the coolest fucking job ever
Yeah,
in our world.
it is.
But I would say like goals would be definitely writing a book would be a big goal, but that's not the one that I'm like especially going after next. I think for me it would be I'm looking to do like a 150-person retreat. And so I really want to do something big and do something really embodied and spend a lot of time in the middle of the jungle somewhere, maybe Costa Rica.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We do have our next one that's coming up in Costa Rica in June. So to anybody that's feeling vibes to come out and wanting to just really step into their next level of embodiment, then yeah, that's the place. We already have like 20 people going. So that's going to be super exciting. And all are pretty much artists. Like everybody, like, yeah, tattooers love a good luxury retreat. So,
How's the demographic of that looking?
what do you mean? Like, as far as like who comes?
Yeah, is it like mostly, you said a lot of your clients are women. Is it
Yeah.
mostly women? Is it all women's retreats?
We normally do have only women that come, but we are so open to our divine masculine men that want to come and join us. I do have men in my spaces. They are I consider I don't really just speak to women. I like to say humans
Sure.
because I am a whole demographic of non-binary, transgen, whatever, all the words, and I love it. And I love all my people that are in my spaces that are in different communities and, you know, um, are of different cultures and different things like this. So like I'm an open book, but I tend to attract the feminine perspective.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
The feminine persuasion, I'd say.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so I mean, but all is welcome. So
Okay. Good
yeah.
news. Well,
Yeah.
again, thank you for not turning me down and thanks for spending time with me today.
I
I
turned
love
you down, but
doing
I love you so much.
it. Well, it's been way too long since we've like talked. And
I know.
also we need to, our paths to
Yeah.
cross
Yeah,
again.
yeah, you'll have to let me know what, conventions you might be doing and stuff like that, if you guys are still doing them and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I wish you nothing but success in
Thanks so much, Rob.
growth and continued development. And I hope you'll do well forever.
Aw, same goes to you, Betty. I love you so much, and, yeah, let's definitely connect. I've got your number. I'll text you.
Yeah.